Hey everyone, welcome back to more of the Fermi Paradox. I'm DisturbingPuppet. So once again, this is an early access game where you play as a galactic gardener trying to keep various different alien civilizations going, or you could wipe them all out if you want to. I've been pretty nice here, although I am running out of points I can use to save species or get them going on the right path. So I think we're going to sit on the Maru here for a bit. We've got the Dorloth on a couple of systems here. There's a couple of ships out here traveling to another star system. The Maru down here are the most technologically advanced race. They've only detected signals from the Dorloth. The Dorloth have not made contact with anybody else. These guys once fought the Rao here, who are now traveling on a ship out to Alpha Centauri. The Batir detected signals from the Maru, and the crazy bug people up here, the Vikai, have never made contact with anybody else, but there is a signal coming from Maru. Alright, so the reason we're going to sit on these guys is because they only have a certain number of years to get through all the different levels of tech that are left, and their growth is sort of out of control and their population's too high. So they're going to run out of resources in 800 years. I don't want that growth to go probably zero or slightly negative, actually. Then we'll worry about everybody else. So that's what we're doing. New quadrant established. If I don't babysit a planet, I think it just randomly picks something. So you get things that kind of somewhat organically advance as you go along. What horrors might we awaken when we play with the fabric of space-time? Yeah, give me more resources. Space junk cleaned up by a multi-quadrant work team. Oh, the Batir have made it to a new technological age. They're also doing quite well, so they have now hit singularity as well. So Dorloth, well, first our raptor dinosaur people down in the left corner of the Maru got to the singularity age. They're now past it. The Dorloth, and then now the Batir. So the Batir create machines capable of recursive self-improvement, ever powerful, more copies of themselves autonomously, growing potential each generation. True artificial intelligence. So these guys' growth is also kind of nuts, but they have way more resources currently. That might change as they move into this next era. So you can see, like, it's currently gas giant. I think it might change once we switch. There's a ton of these guys as well. It doesn't cost me anything to go with self-learning AI, able to process data, innovate faster than any Batir scientist. Breakthroughs in all fields of research happen almost daily, so we'll go with wisdom. So yeah, it's still saying, so matter deposits, so they've got about 4,000 years. Batir can now build large library habitats monitored and maintained by artificial superintelligences. We've had a bunch of random weird events. This is early access, and a bunch more random weird events and different species will pop up as the game progresses. A lot more species in this. I actually picked just species that I've never seen before for this one. So like the Maru and the others, because I haven't played this in quite a while. I was kind of waiting for it to go to full release. It just never quite got there. Technological development has definitely slowed here as we've made our way up. We could take some tech or some more resources. I guess we'll go tech. Seems like it's getting slower to move. Alright, the settler conglomerates have something going on. Alright, they reached the solar age. So I was worried these guys' civilization might collapse before they got there, because it did once before already, and went down to just a few hundred million, like 300 million of them left after there were billions of them. But they've now made it to the solar age, so they can get resources from the asteroid belts and that kind of stuff. So they should be okay. They're not reliant on just what's on the planet to survive. So we'll just go with this. So advancements, focusing on growth and resources. Problem, though, is they have a huge population and their growth is out of control. So it's an issue. So yeah, their civilization collapsed. Most of them died off. There was 300 million of them left, and now it's only been, I mean, it's probably been, it doesn't tell you years in this, which I think would be kind of cool, but it's probably only been a few hundred years, and now there's 10 billion of them. I mean, they're kind of like living plant people. This is kind of showing them in a ship. So they're like living plant people, the same as they're down here in the Dorloth expert circuits, who are also kind of showing them in a ship flying around like a weird 1950s sci-fi ship or something. Actually, let me quickly look and see, resource-wise, how everybody's doing. frontier. You've got thousands of years. The Vakai doing quite well. They're only in the Cyber Age tech level. Next, they'll get to Solar, which is asteroid, kind of like asteroid mining and stuff. All right, so yeah, we'll hang out here with the Maru and try to get them in decent shape. Fully functional miniature replica of the Tau Ceti system built. Establish a new quadrant. In growth down. Like ASAP. Another fully functional replica of the Tau Ceti system. Okay, something's happening with the Vakai conglomerates. Consumption in Kepler. The Everything Store. Computer algorithms and logistics networks on Kepler 4 have evolved to the point where one can order an item digitally and have it delivered to their door in a day or less. In order for this process to work, however, complex data miners are constantly monitoring each individual for product preferences and subconscious desires. And I'll be demonstrating today's skin rejuvenation techniques using products from Star Ocean. I can't recommend smooth descaling lotion enough. A special big thanks to all you lovelies out there that use the referral link. Kiss, kiss. Okay, so yeah, I don't really want to use up resources too much. We'll just go prevention because it doesn't cost me anything. Thanks to transparent logistics networks and government-funded technical literacy campaigns, many people can recognize when they're being sold something unnecessarily. Kai Society was left surprisingly unaffected when the first Everything Store was created during their Cyber Age. While the business did thrive, it did not radically disrupt the culture as such ventures often do. Come so far from a bunch of bug hunting, head-hunting bugs. Bug hunting. Alright, there we go. Got some negative growth. Reactor explosion. Damages a species, deep space habitat. Still too high. Some soldiers stop fighting. Earth is still nuts. We'll go research here. Yeah, I'm not getting many options. Hey, the Rao ship actually arrived. I thought they would. I didn't. If I hadn't intervened, they probably all would have died off before they got there. The Rao arrive at the Alpha Centauri system. The Pleasure Planets. The drilled crew of the Rao ship are delighted when they arrive at Proxima Centauri B. The planet is lush and inviting, a paradise of bountiful food and rich resources. The drilled crew breathe a sigh of relief, their worries falling away as they ready themselves for a life of pleasure on this incredibly new world. Sex is a part of nature. I go along with nature. Marilyn Monroe. So the Rao have a new home. Perfect success. No, we're not paid for that. Troubled development. The first generation of colonists indulge too deeply, wasting resources as they luxuriate on the lush planet. Seeing the long-term dangers of this lifestyle, the next generation reinstates a strict command structure. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Total failure. After several years of easy living on, I think it's supposed to be on, like, planet name. Crisis strikes. An alien insect bite leads to an outbreak of deadly disease that wipes out the entire Rao population. I mean, that would give me 40 points. Let's just go with troubled development. I don't want to wipe out an entire species. Alright, Proxima Centauri B is inhabited by Rao colonists, but the Dorloth are going to follow them here quite soon. They've got 5 million years of resources. They're only at mechanical age tech level, because it wasn't their ship in the first place. They just sort of hijacked it. Yeah, totally fine. How far away? Rao Paradise Colony. That's kind of cool. Where is the other ship? It should be out here somewhere. What happened? Wait a minute. What happened to the Dorloth ship? That's weird. What did happen to the Dorloth ship? Unless it's almost there. Like, it might be. I don't see anything. The Rao have no knowledge of alien life forms. It doesn't make any sense because we invaded their planet. Though the Dorloth invaded their planet, not like me personally. Weird. Where is the Dorloth ship? That is so bizarre. I don't know what's going on with that. It seemed like a weird bug in the first place that there were two, because it was the asteroid ship we sent here. The Rao attacked some of the settlers, got off on the planet, wiped out the Rao, and then the remaining Rao took the ship and left with it. But then it was showing a Rao ship and a Dorloth ship. But now I don't see either one, which is weird. Okay. Fine, whatever. Maybe they died out without me being told. I don't know. I'm just going to kind of go in and out here for a second and see if I... Like, they were sort of around... That's one thing. It should show a bit more easily what's going on with that. I feel like they're like right there, but I could be wrong. Alright, anyway, back to the Marno. If it's less resources or less peaceful, it'll be less peaceful. Solar Dreadnought exterminates the entire exosuit soldier army of a mighty Maru quadrant. Around Paradise Colony. Enlightenment in Alpha Centauri. I do like that illustration. Pioneers of the Alpha Centauri system. The Rao colony is full of hope and passion for building a better world. The social engineers among the colony argue for decades over how to shape the new world into a paradise for every Rao. Far away from the tyranny of the Rigel synopsis, we can build a real home under the new star. Gene modifications are not under century-old patented trademarks. No forgotten algorithm would control our biochemistry, and we can fully use our brains without our mandatory mind blockers. Alright, I'm not spending any points. Some of the ideas are very progressive and inspired the entire colony, but they also fail to question more problematic approaches to building a new society. Dead end, pragmatic leaders come to power after the pioneer generation, and they discard the progressive ideals of the early colonists. There's only 1,700 of them. There's no growth at the moment. We'll just go regular development, that's fine. Alright, everything's basically good. There's just not many Rao. Where is the ship? The Dorloth ship has just totally disappeared. Maybe because it's been colonized already? I don't know what's going on with that. I feel like there's potentially a bug or something there with that. Taking a really long time to get through the tech levels now. We still need to get growth down. It's really out of control. Okay, reactor explosion. Exterminate an army. Signals from space. Rigel is receiving signals from another star. The Rigel system, a lone artificial intelligence, detects a pattern among signal fragments and assemblies them into the Maru space opera from the Maru civilization. The Dorloth inhabitants of Rigel 7 are unaware of this development. Traces of other civilizations are hidden deep within the chaos of galactic noise. Often only our kind has the knowledge to privilege those traces. Sentient programs may well have developed an interstellar whisper network, forming alliances and exchanging vital data unobserved by their organic creators. So this was actually in direct response to them getting jazz music from the Dorloth. I hate them not getting the message back. It's a massive expense for them just to be aware, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. So the artificial intelligence decides to share the Mara space opera with Rigel scientists, jumpstarting an age of discovery. After modeling various outcomes, a Dorloth artificial intelligence made contact with the scientists of Rigel to share its discovery of the alien Mara space opera, which was in direct response to the jazz music the Dorloth beamed out in the past because they were super excited about it. This exchange led to increased collaboration between the artificial intelligence and its creators, which in turn opened up new scientific horizons for the Dorloth. This population is going absolutely nuts. But they've got lots of resources, so that's good. Still don't see the ship. I think it's just gone. It's just winked out of existence. Alright. Gonna keep trying to drop the growth here. Uranium wars reduce the Mara population, which is odd because we're not really fighting over uranium anymore. The Vakai picked up something, probably also the space opera. The Kepler is receiving signals from another star. Cybernetic sensor implants connected via brain interfaces now let the Vakai pick up radio signals all around them. A strange side effect is that they're able to listen to the Mara space opera of the Mara civilization. We estimate that 63% of all received signals from other civilizations were filtered out as data garbage by automated software systems. Okay, ignorance, I feel bad about it. I can just barely have them react to it. The Vakai are very excited by the Mara space opera, and the entire population implants themselves with cybernetic sensor devices to listen to the message from Mara. Ignorance, firmware update to the cybernetic implant filters out the signal after first users complain about it. The message is lost afterwards. Hostility, Mara space opera is projected directly into the brains of the implant users, and its strange content leads to a wave of psychotic breakdowns among the Vakai. I kind of like that. That's interesting. God, these guys are almost to the solar age. You know what? Let's completely freak out about the fact that the signal is coming into our brains without our consent. That's totally fine. How are we doing? Okay, you've got 3,000 years. You guys are at 887. Hey, we got some negative growth. I'll just jump on that. Exosuit soldiers capture an influential space habitat. Still 8% growth, still pretty high. Matter harvesters have consumed large portions of a gas giant. Well, that's not good. New era for the Vakai. Vakai are in the solar age. Seen this many times. Alright. Wisdom is technological advancement. Advancement is a little bit of a cost in exchange for resources and population growth. Power, fleet of city-sized battleships patrol the Kepler system to ensure that colonies remain loyal to the government of Kepler 4. You know what? I feel like we're going to go ahead and get some points out of these guys. So they're going to be a little bit more paranoid because of that last... Like, the signal that they got, they think of as like it's an attack. So they're going to interpret it that way and be prepared for war. I think that, slightly makes sense. Well, we've got 5 million years of resources. Are you at negative? I didn't even see the growth. It'd be nice to get your growth at least somewhat positive here. See if I can get some positive growth. The Rao begin to make Alpha Centauri their home. Some tech. Yeah, it's not worth it. It's much more important for me to deal with the Mara. Tech. Alright, the Dorloth have moved to a new age, so they've now reached superluminal. So they can now go FTL, build jump gates, so they're at the same kind of level as the Maru, I think. Growth is crazy high, but there's a lot of resources, so we're probably okay. We'll go advancement here. Yeah, so they've got like 40-some thousand years of resources, even though there's 91 billion of them. Whereas the Maru, there's only 129 billion. Well, I mean, that's not only, but they're going to run out in less than 1,000 years. So we'll go Tech, Hyperspace Observatory. Some kind of event for the Maru quadrants. Depopulation in Tau City. That's actually really good. Cheap terraforming. Precursor emissions confirm a barren inner planet of the Tau City system is potentially habitable. With a little bit of terraforming, it could support complex organic life and flourish. Or so is the promise. Elated with success, the Maru jump onto the fastest solution to create a livable atmosphere, genetically engineered bacterial cultures. Before long, the first Maru settlers arrive to the newly terraformed planet, only to find the rush tragically backfire. They cannot even engineer an artificial atmosphere. How does that make you puke if you spend too much time out of the Oh, that does not make you puke if you spend too much time out of the dome. How can we trust them with opening holes into hyperspace? Yeah, I think we want massive depopulation here, actually. Quadrants of Tau City rushed the project further, hoping that in light of its grandiose success, the high death toll among the settlers would stay unnoticed. When unstable bacterial cultures turn hostile and ravage the settler population, the quadrants continue to suppress all evidence. Countless Maru who move to the inner planets collapse after a short time. It gets me points and drops the population. That's great. So we're now actually going to be at negative 3%. That's going to help resources. Actually, minus 4%. Give me some tech. Go random here. Some more tech. A little bit less conflict. Conflict settled peacefully. So we're at minus 4% growth. We could get it lower. The tech is going really slow at this point. Let me take a look and see how things are going elsewhere. So we've got about 800 years of resources there. About 2,000 years here. Growth is insane on Batir. 66 billion, and growth is 42%, which is nuts. We might want to try to get a handle on that, but they've got resources. But if the population just explodes and continues to explode, it's going to be a problem eventually. These guys have 398 years. Growth is a bit high here, too. These guys have thousands of years of resources. Yeah, certain systems are very different from one another. Still holding at 0% here. Let's give you some tech. I'd like to get these guys into positive growth. Something's happening to the Batir fertile clouds. Paradigm shift. Troll constructs. A bizarre form of artificial intelligence evolves in the networks of the Vex system, formulated from crude jokes by long-forgotten Batir programmers and toxic memes preserved in the ancient data structure of the Batir fertile clouds. The troll constructs develop an unpredictable and annoying behavior. Everybody fears the rise of a machine god. What we should really fear is the rise of machine shitheads. Yeah, nothing that's going to drop their growth. Going to ramp up growth. Cultural descent. The networks of Vex become toxic. The artificial intelligence love pitting Batir against each other and randomly give sentient guns to random habitat inhabitants to see what happens. Sure. That's just kind of nuts. they've got plenty of time, but the growth is, I think, unsustainable. I would like some positive growth here. There we go. Found a new settlement. We'll get a little bit more. Settlement becomes a colonial administration hub. Nice. Okay, so they now actually have 4% growth. I think we can kind of leave them at that. The settler dominions are in a bit of trouble. Well, they could probably get to the next tech level before 382 years passes, but growth is pretty high. The Batir fertile clouds, because their growth is massive, I think we want to drop that a little bit, although they've got thousands of years. Yeah, let's drop that growth. Malicious artificial intelligence kills many Batir inhabitants of the Vex system before it's disabled. Batir form a monumental artificial planetoid in the Vex system. Okay, settler dominions, picking up something. Receiving signals from another star. Settlers have a small mining colony on a minor planet at the border of Gliese. The planet is so far flung that it begins receiving the Mars space opera from the Tau Ceti system. Cannot allow some fringe colony of a handful of meek lizards to spread rumors of alien radio signals. No civilized society would ever be so stupid to willingly expose themselves to a predator society like us. Okay, we've actually got an okay amount of points. Yeah, we could go ahead and dump it into enthusiasm. Little industrial colony is praised for relaying the Maru space opera back to Gliese, and the planet becomes a crucial scientific hub for the settler dominion. So, advancing tech a bit more research, a bit more resources. Growth is still crazy high, though. Just check in. All right, you're still growing. Let's take a look at the Maru here. Yeah, growth is still negative. Yeah, let's give you some resources, maybe. Establish new resource management methods. Something happening on the Aral Paradise colony. Reduction. Call of colonial planners. The faction of the Rao are urged by colonial planners to reduce the consumption of resources. If the leaders of Alpha Centauri listen to them, the environment of the Rao can be conserved and the exploitation of planetary resource fields reduced. We are living on this planet as if we had another one to go to. Terry Swearingen. There's only 2,900 of them. But, sure, I guess. The Rao leaders are absolutely convinced that resource reduction is crucial for the future of the faction. From now on, they won't do anything without consulting their colonial planners. They already have enough resources for 3.2 million years. So maybe we'll just go with the factions may hear the call, but some leaders only pay lip service to the request to reduce environmental exploitation and only apply small changes. Yeah, that makes most sense when we've got such a small population and resources for literally millions of years. Out here, nothing really about the Maru. I'm kind of jumping around a bit more because everybody's kind of around the same spot. So 2 more tech levels. The Batir have 2 more, but they're actually really close to the next one. Let's advance these guys a little bit, maybe. All libraries research the lost aquatic animal species that were once destroyed by overfishing. And they get to the new age. So actually the Batir are now getting advanced. They're in the superluminal age. Weren't the Maru already in superluminal? I'll have to look and see. I think we want to go with Yeah, we'll just keep going with technological advancement. Doesn't cost me anything. Mysteries of the cosmos begin to reveal themselves. Yeah, so it says one more FTL society for final tech. Superluminal. Maru, Superluminal, tech level 12. One more. Yeah, so it's both. They're both at one more. So yeah, I thought these guys were ahead. All right, yeah. So it's just showing the same superluminal thing, I think, for each one at this point. So they both are close to maxing out the tech, which will kind of end things off, I think. You guys are into the solar age, so exploiting everything in the solar system. Resources are okay looking, actually not that great. 255 years. Not a huge amount of time. Still aren't tons of the Vakai. Now the Vakai zones. They're not advancing in tech very quickly. That could be an issue for them. Settlers have about 800 years. The Dorloth expert quadrants, 35,000. All right, let's grab the extra tech here. Already pretty utopian. We'll take some more. Memorializing a lost deep space collective. $3,500 years here, even with the massive growth, which is kind of nuts. The Vakai, I keep wanting to say Vakir, I don't know why, but the Vakai. I might want to sit on these guys for a bit. Permanent solar colonies on other planets. If we get the growth down, that'll give us more resources. Establish a new zone. Like more resources and or less population growth. Less fighters, so less damage in a war. Development event for the Vakai. Kepler is building spaceships. Interstellar migration. Many Vakai live in squalid solar colonies and overcrowded space stations. With no future for their offspring on Kepler 4, they secretly repurpose discarded ships in preparation for a journey to the Tau Ceti system. Butterflies have always had wings. People have always had legs. The reality of most of migration today reveals the unequal relations between rich and poor, north and south, whiteness and its others. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to go. Colony ship project inspires Destitute to mobilize an entire interstellar fleet. With great effort, impoverished Vakai convert a transport vessel into a fully functional colony ship. Dead end. Sent into its journey, the colony ship stalls in the Oort cloud of the Kepler system. And that does give me points. So they want to send it to the Tau Ceti system. Nope. I can't exit out to sea. I think that's where the Dorloth are or something, I think, but I'm not sure. Yeah, give me some points, actually. Let's not do that. So the ship will crap out in the Oort cloud, and everybody dies. Travelers to Kepler 4 may encounter a floating settlement within the Kepler Oort cloud. These unfortunates inhabit a colony ship that stalled long before reaching any meaningful destination. The vessel's desperate inhabitants present an interesting problem for the Vakai zones and legal scholars. Major zone falls from influence. Let's grab some resources here. Environmental conservation measures. Less combat. Take the mystery thing. So that's going to give me tech. Go resources again. So more efforts to cultivate and recycle. More soldiers laying down their arms. I need population growth to go down. That's going to buy me more time, honestly. Dorloth expert quadrants have a development event. Uh-oh. Extinction in Rigel. No, it's Rigel that they're at, right? Any means necessary. An extremist group believes that meddling with space-time will destroy all reality. To them, the only way to prevent this horrible outcome is to wipe out the entire Dorloth civilization first. They begin creating an antimatter bomb that they will launch into Rigel itself, creating a system-wide explosion. You call us terrorists, but what are a few billion lives when compared to all that has or ever will exist? Okay, well, these guys are doing pretty well. They've also got just one more FTL societies for final tech. I might spend the points here to go close call. Minimal survivors wipes out 128.8 billion. So that does leave some, but the growth would probably be negative afterwards. Extremists successfully detonate their bomb, sending deadly shockwaves through the system. Eventually, survivors from deep space colonies begin to repopulate Rigel 7. 128.8 billion lives lost. There's tons of resources. I don't need to kill off the population. Extremists accidentally blow themselves up while preparing the bomb. No one ever learns how close they came to destruction. Yeah, I think we'll go close call here. We'll save the homeworld of the Dorloth. So they accidentally blew up their own headquarters on Rigel 7, were foiled by incompetence, but by a minor hypercomputer bug that caused their fabrication units to malfunction. Yeah, like these guys are fine. Resource-wise, they're all set. There's no problems. Just keep rolling along. So yeah, very high tech for the Dorloth, the Maru, and the Batir. Here, this colony is only at Solar Age technology, but they left quite early on from the homeworld, separated off. And these guys are mechanical, so at least have, steam engines and stuff. While the Vakai are into the Solar Age. They've only got 147 years, though. I think we'll have to kind of sit on them. I'm just kind of looking. Yeah. Growth is negative here. Things are actually looking pretty good. Over 1,000 years now for them. So yeah, the Vakai are the only ones who are in danger of running out of resources. So we're going to do what we can here. Take the random. Capture an influential solar colony in the Kepler system. We find hidden... if I can talk. Will we find evidence of alien visitors hidden somewhere in our solar system? Death of beloved Trapper Arbiter. Yeah, we can become more peaceful, I guess. Conflict settled peacefully. Definitely don't want resources going down. Some more research for us. I want that growth down. Okay, something's happening with the Maru Quadrants development event. Tau City is building spaceships. The Rebel Fleet. War is brewing in the Tau Ceti system. An authoritarian quadrant has begun sending solar dreadnoughts to intimidate independent space habitats. A resistance begins to form, culminating in a daring mission. Rebel exosuit soldiers are sent to capture the oppressors' starship fleet. Rebellions are built on hope. Epic project. I don't want to spend that many points. Mission is successful. The fleet is in the hand of the rebels. To prevent all-out war, they leave to find a new home in the Rigel system. Inspired, huge numbers of the Maru join the Great Exodus. Regular development. The ships are well defended, and many exosuit soldiers fall in the battle. However, they do manage to capture one large battleship, which they use to escape towards Rigel. Dead end. The intelligence apparatus of the quadrant captures the rebels before they can put their plan into action. Yeah, I think some of this stuff does need to be edited. A few spelling errors and things here and there, or words being weird. We'll go regular, I think. Maru Rebel battleship was captured by Rebel forces in the Tau Ceti system. So the Maru Rebel battleship will be heading towards Rigel. Which one? I don't even remember. That's Vex. Kepler. Yes. This is Rigel. Okay, so heading towards the homeworld of the Dorloth. That's a bit of an issue. So yeah, we actually have the Rebel battleship. So the numbers it's giving here are definitely not correct. I think we need to give it a minute. The Maru Rebel battleship begins its journey from Tau Ceti to the Rigel system. 4 billion? It can't be 4 billion, right? Oh yeah, it can, because actually, in Tau Ceti, there's 82 billion people here, or 82 billion Maru. So that one ship must be pretty massive, considering it's got 4.4 billion Maru on it. But there's hardly any resources, so they're going to all starve to death on the way, because that's way too many to throw on a starship. Interesting that we get, a little bit of a different look, different clothing, that kind of stuff. But these guys are doomed. Like, absolutely doomed. What discoveries await us in the Rigel system? I'm just going to see if I can get some negative growth or something, but you guys are screwed. I might just let them die out. New captain is appointed. Hypercomputer network is testing the functionality of the antimatter torpedo system. Ship captain. Yeah, resource crisis. They've got 100 years before they run out of resources. I don't know what happens if you run out of resources on a battleship. Scarcity on the Rebel battleship. Resource storage are becoming scarce aboard the Maru Rebel battleship. The effects of reactor depletion brought the crew to a breaking point. While they're dealing with the resource scarcity, will the captain find a way to prevent the complete exhaustion of the ship's resources, or will this end in mutiny and violence? An empty storage module is the most horrifying occurrence on a spaceship that is traveling to a distant star at sub-light speed. But they've got high enough tech that they should be traveling at light speed, or faster than light speed. So, I don't know. Precautions, so 42% chance of decline. I'm not spending points on that. Crisis, chance of hostility is 45%. Scarcity causes discord and competition among the crew. Hypercomputer systems break down, while the officers of the Rebel battleship compete for dwindling resources, or just straight out war. The crew pick up their disruption rifles and fight over access to the remaining resource storage. Exosuit soldiers blow up entire living quarters of the ship in so-called resource mutiny. It's only 144 million casualties. Which, I mean, you say that, but there's 4.4 billion Maru on this ship. I think, I'm tempted just to go war, but the crisis is probably going to end up in war anyway. We'll try just the crisis result and see what happens. Mitigation on the Rebel battleship. Infrastructure of the Maru Rebel battleship is crumbling because resource storage are becoming scarce. Many technological systems are not sustainable anymore. Hypercomputers are breaking apart, and the crew is trading knowledge in order to survive. Our new home planet had some exquisite visitors. An ancient space barge, self-contained and running on minimal power. Their crew survived all those centuries in space, But the barge was filled with cave paintings and people making tools and weapons from old computer trash. That's kind of cool. So, strong mitigation doesn't cost me. Antimatter specialists are now busy keeping the rebel battleship from falling apart with the little resources they have left. The next generation will be more capable of living in scarcity, but all their research data will be lost. Technological decay. The resource crisis throws the Mara crew into total developmental stasis. They lose access to their advanced systems and cannot operate the hypercomputers anymore, regress back to lightspeed age. Let's just go strong mitigation. It still only buys them like 360 some odd years, which is probably not enough. The growth is 0. I'd like to get that negative. Okay, something's happening with the Dorloth settler dominions. Hey, they reached lightspeed. So we've seen this many times before. So you think they're actually close enough that they could contact their original planet. Wisdom doesn't cost me anything. It's a research focus. I think I'll just do that. Yeah, we'll do that. 1,200 years. God, they're up to 20 billion. Growth is 32%. The Dorloth are just growing out of control, it seems like. They've had so many times when that's been an issue. Maru, still negative, so they're still doing pretty well. 1,200 years. I've got a chance to give them more resources. I'm just going to do that. Floating space junk has been cleaned by a multi-quadrant work team. How is everybody else doing? 2,000 years here for the Batir fertile spheres. Akai! Oh, you guys are having trouble? Yeah, let's give you some negative growth. Capture an influential solar colony in the Kepler system. Growth is still really high. Royal Paradise Colony has a development event. Paradigm shift in Alpha Centauri. After many years on Proxima Centauri B, the Rao colonists no longer need to struggle simply to survive. Life has become comfortable, even idyllic, yet with comfort has come a need to seek excitement and distraction. The atmosphere in the tight-knit community begins to change as a simmering sensuality takes hold in the Rao Paradise Colony. They start worshipping Slaanesh. Of the delights of this world, man cares most for sexual intercourse, yet he has left it out of his heaven. Mark Twain. Still mechanical age. Not spending any points on you. Cultural descent. Without external threats to worry about, the Rao Paradise Colony descends into petty political infighting. Frontier soldiers take advantage of the chaos to stage a military coup. Interesting. Cultural expansion. That's fine. The extra growth wouldn't be a big issue. Movement forms in the colonies focus on the pursuit of pleasure above all else. These so-called Centaurulons encourage an open sexuality that changes Rao society forever. Sure, there's so few of you that if you want to just reproduce like crazy, that's fine. All of a sudden, there's 14,000 of you with a decent growth rate. Got 400,000 years of resources, and they changed into, I don't know, adorning their bodies with creepy feathers and stuff. Alright. What's the battleship? 396 years. Oh, let's go negative growth there. Decline reduces the numbers. Excellent, excellent. I'll take some resources as well. So I've now bought them 422 years of life, which might be enough to get to Rigel. But there's already people here. An advanced species is already here with higher tech level than you. Not a lot higher. Actually, it might be the same. 1? Yeah, 1. So actually, the Maru are slightly ahead. Dorloth are not. More resources? I keep checking. More resources. Give it to them. buying a little bit of time. Let's go with decreased growth. Members killed in an antimatter accident. Got more resources, I'll do that. More efficiency protocols. Yeah, so that now buys them 560 some odd years. Growth is slightly negative, which is good. On the home world, growth is still slightly negative, 1400 years. You guys have 1900 years. The Vakai, 6 years. All right, we've got a problem. So yeah, we'll go ahead and stop it there. We'll come back and we'll try to deal with the Vakai and see what we can do as far as keeping these guys alive. All right, this has been more of the Fermi Paradox. I've been Disturbing Puppet. Thanks for coming by. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Until then, have a good one.